the number one permanent fixed asset is video. The reason why video is a fixed asset is because on YouTube, if you think about it, when you create a video and you upload it to YouTube, which is the largest video platform in the world, owned by Google, the search engine is the owner of the platform, so it has search engine value. The volume of people that live in that space is massive. So video can go where you cannot. And in addition to that, it is permanent and it's a fixed asset that has a compounding result on your business. So if you guys know the difference between simple interest and compound interest, right? Compound interest is a video. Simple interest is a Facebook post or a Twitter post or a dig message and so forth. Things that have only a moment of time of value and not permanent fixed assets. Building your fan base, your network, a tribe on a social site such as Twitter or Google Plus or Facebook is a fixed asset that will grow over time. Posting content obviously is a retention mechanism for those fans. However, with video, you are simply creating and optimizing a video, repurposing, republishing, and respinning the same video over and over again, and the fan base or viewership is going to increase over and over and over and over again. So, number one, in your business, you have to make sure that the 3 priorities to your business are permanent and have a compound interest impact on your business as far as results. So, number 1, video. Number 2 is going to be a book. A book is passed on, shared, reshared, repurposed, written in, tagged. It's there. It's permanently on somebody's bookshelf. They read it multiple times. They highlight it, like I said. They're leaving notes in it. They re-reference it, and so forth. This is going to become a valuable, permanent, fixed asset in somebody's book. It's also a constant reminder, a refresher, keeps your brand, your message in front of your consumer base, and it allows them to share and pass it on and pass it on and pass it on. As you'll know, I'm sure you've read books and shared them with friends. Other people will and have as well. The third permanent asset with compounding results is going to be blog content. Blog content, when you post blog content to your website, you now have a fixed permanent asset inside Google that has compounding interest, which is a compounding result. The longer an article stays in a blog, the older the article is, the more valuable it is. So think about it. The older the article is, the more valuable it is. So over time, if you have a website that you're not adding content to frequently, if you're not blogging, then you're simply losing the historical value of documenting your message. And blogs are simple, you guys. If you think about it, yesterday I said there's 2 ways people search. People search via opening up their computer, going online, typing in a search, and they're going to pull up a result on Google. And then you have the next generation. I tell everybody that my son and his friends all have a girlfriend named Siri, because they literally pull up their iPhones and they ask questions to Siri. Siri, what's the best this? Siri, how do you do this? Siri, where's this? Siri, what's this? You have a new generation, and I promise you, 1,000 days from now, you have a new group of competitors. You have a new group of potential customers, influencers of customers, employers, employees. The next generation thinks differently. Their ability to query using audio is much different, and it requires you to think differently about your marketing. Creating just a sales page is not going to work. Having a website without fluid content is not going to work. Not having sales information but not being educational is not going to work. Same thing if you have a business that has been primarily a word-of-mouth business or a business by referral. People are now evaluating your company, your brand, your name on Google to be able to determine if you're a valuable referral and if they should do business with you, if they should even call. So the positioning online between video, blog content, and your book is going to allow you to gain that credibility that is necessary. It's permanent, and it's going to seriously impact your business overall. With that, I want to do just a quick mic check on Tammy. Tammy, are you with us? Let me see here.
Jan, she'll be joining very quickly here.
All right, awesome. Awesome. Okay, very quick. So we're going to go through this. This is this has to be a goal of every business owner. And this, typically is going to require you to bring on a team. For example, we have a marketing program. I think the minimum, our entry-level package is $200 a month. It's not expensive. But with that marketing program, we are working with clients to help them execute faster. You can spend years and years and years and try and build a fan base, on Facebook, or a subscriber base on YouTube and so forth, and grow by 10 or 20 or 100, or maybe even you were able to get it up to 1,000 or a couple thousand. Or you can leverage other people's networks in order to be able to grow faster. And so that's just one example of how to execute faster. You have to understand, where is your primary position? What is going to allow you to be able to execute faster? What are your strategic execution capabilities? Execution is a cross between alignment, understanding where to go, why to go, and how to get there. Mindset, believing that you need to make this happen, feeling an urgency about getting there, and wanting to go. I will tell you, I see a lot of business owners believe that a digital marketing program, when they want to go from 0 to hero, they believe that a digital marketing program should be 6 months, and at that point, they should be able to be competing with this massive base of competitors. If you think about Google, Google is trillions and trillions of pages, not websites, trillions of pages on the internet. Every page you put on the internet allows you to get into a different drawer. When you get into that different drawer, it gives you a different audience, but it also gives you a different list of competitors. So I'm just going to go to Google, and I want to give you one example so that we can see this. So if I'm on Google and I look for, actually you guys, I see lots of different people on here. Somebody throw out 3 or 4 key phrases. Type it in the chat box on the right-hand side for your business, something you want me to do a quick search for. Good morning, Sophia. Good morning, Janine and Diego. All right, Sophia, what you got? Let me, Sophia, I'm going to unmute you real quick. Oh, you guys are quick. All right, so we're going to start with Janice Thompson. Wire. Let's see here. Wire custom jewelry. All right. So wire, let's see here. I'm going to take out the word custom. Let's do wire jewelry. All right, that's a more difficult phrase. So I want you to look right here. When you have a two word phrase, you'll see wire jewelry. There is 60,200,000 pages inside this drawer. So this is what you're competing with. So when you first get off the ground and you are attempting to get inside this query is for 2 words and there's no geography attached to it. This is your competition, 60,200,000 pages. Now watch the difference if I'm going to put in the word custom.
Welcome to GoToWebinar, Webinars Made Easy.
Wireworks Custom Jewelry, have to love that. Facebook. So we're going to slow through here, and also I want to show you, as soon as we put in the word custom, Wireworks Custom Jewelry is on page 1 of Google. You're technically competing with 11,700,000 clients or pages that all want to be in the top 10 positions. The only way you get here is with having incredible content and very carefully labeled. So you'll see here your Facebook page and your website, Wire Custom Jewelry. Google's going to highlight exactly the words that it wants to see. Next, I'm looking at your guys' list. So I have Scott Burnside with spot cooling. Submitted emergency portable air conditioner.
Welcome to GoToWebinar. Webinars made easy.
As much. If you add air conditioners, notice the difference. Now you have 2.5 million air conditioners. And as you move down, see, I love our clients. So this is our client on page 1 of Google for emergency portable air conditioners. You'll notice Google is going to point out emergency portable air conditioners. This section right here is your website title and your meta title combined. This is your URL. Anything after the / would be considered a permalink. So if you had a blog post titled emergency portable air conditioners, then it would show /blog / emergency portable air conditioners, and next it would move into your description. So you'll notice that we've got portable air conditioners and emergency all in the description. So this is one of the reasons why it's showing up on this page. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because everything is related. Everything is related. The website, your SEO plan, your social relevance, your social equity, your social capital, your content, everything is absolutely related. But I will tell you, gaining first page position like our clients have for your primary search phrases is very difficult, if not impossible, without content. So Sophia, you added one. And you said the life you create, the life you create. So I wanna stop on this one. This is I wanna stop on this one and talk for just a moment. There are different missions when it comes to the primary categories or phrases that you create. In this environment, first off, this is one of the largest search drawer. Well, this is the largest search drawer out of all of the ones, so highly, highly, highly competitive. This is also more likely to be a brand than it is to be a generic search. So if you think about, consumers are going to look for your products or services a few different ways. One, they're going to look for your name, your personal name, because they get referred to you as Scott Burnside or Sophia Montoya or Janice Thompson. Two, they're going to look for your company name, Custom Jewelry or Custom Wireworks or Portable Air Conditioners Inc. or Spot Cooling and so forth. Or they're going to look for a brand. So Tammy and Tony have written tons of books. So a brand would be strategic acceleration. A brand would be a 12-step roadmap. A brand would be business ground rules. So those are brands. The life you create is probably going to fit inside the brand category, which is important because if people do business two ways, which they do, and I promise you, having asked hundreds and hundreds of thousands of audience members, how do you do business? How do you actually buy as a consumer? And they do business two ways. One is via referral, two is via the internet, and they validate referrals with the internet. So referrals can be someone handing a book from person to person. A referral can be going onto Facebook and saying, hey, I need a referral for a contractor. Referral can be somebody sharing a blog post and saying, hey, this is a great article, check this out. There are many, many ways that quote-unquote word-of-mouth referrals take place now. It's not Mary calls Jane and says, hey, Jane, you should really check out this blank. It doesn't typically happen in that environment anymore. So the connection between those two is massive. The connection between word-of-mouth referrals and the internet is extremely connected. So I say this as a brand. Now, in addition to that, another way people are going to look for you is referrals. They're going to ask questions. Another way is they're going to go to Google, just like I did when I typed in emergency portable air conditioners. They're going to go to Google and they're going to do a search. And another way they're going to search for you is they're going to pick up that little cell phone of theirs. They're going to have a date with Siri, and they're going to say, Siri, what are the top 10? How do I? What's the best? Where do I? And they're going to ask Siri questions, and that's going to produce a much different result. So because this is a brand, there's a different process of going through this. Now, let me pause for just a minute. We went through mindset. Next one is capability, your execution capability, having the skills to get where you want to go, having the business acumen and making proper decisions to be able to get there, leadership and management, and sales transformation. And with that, I'm going to do another check because this would be the perfect lead-in for Ms. Tammy. Tammy, you with us? I know she's having a killer time trying to get her audio to work. Alrighty then, we're going to try again. Okay, so let's move through. In this environment, what we're recommending is that you leverage our team in order to be able to help you through this process. I will tell you, as I mentioned before, for me, have I written a book yet? No. Am I writing one now? Yes. I have, however, concentrated on the other two permanent assets, which is building video and building blog content. So now, for me, I work backwards. So in working backwards, I have thousands of video and thousands of blog pieces that allow me to, when I make a decision that I am going to create a book, the ability for me to be able to do that very, very quickly is it's simple. In fact, not only can I do one, but I can write 10 if I wanted to, or 30 if I wanted to. My problem is more focusing on which one am I going to do first, because the content is already prepared and it's in a permanent position. So right now, you guys, I can see your guys' notes over here. If you feel like, well, let me come back to that. I'm going to come back to that. Let me give you an example of how to leverage a book. So you have creating content for your website, and some people struggle with that, but it's critical in an SEO environment. So let me give you an idea of how all of these things are integrated, and this is your getting started. This is kind of your homework, and I'll show you what I'm doing with mine as well. The first thing you're going to do is create an outline. Your outline is specific categories, subcategories that will turn into a book. So categories, I'm going to give you an example. So one of the books I'm writing is the 12-step roadmap to accelerate results in life. So these are my 12 chapters: mindset, behavior, time, technology, strategy, network, resources, relationship, marketing, money, leadership, and wellness. These are the 12 chapters. Every chapter will have a subchapter. You guys, if you think about this, so if I was to take, for example, marketing, and I was going to create a subcategory, here's my subcategory for marketing, which actually could be a short chapter with little bits for each one of these areas, or it could be its own book, or it could be both. So one chapter, if you think about this, in your business, if there were a series of chapters, and you guys, this is, if you're having a hard time thinking about what could I write about, it's probably going to be the same thing, the same challenge when it comes to what kind of content you put on your website. And getting clarity, at least sitting down, having a brainstorming session or a mastermind session with us and visiting about what does that look like. For Scott Burnside, what does that look like for you guys? For Janice Thompson with Custom Wireworks Jewelry, what does that look like? You have an incredible legacy, an incredible story to tell, and we want to make sure that that story allows you to be able to get, well, let me back up. You have the legacy it leaves with your family, but you also have leveraging a book to get free marketing, free publicity, get in front of the media, create additional content. So the goal would be, once you have these categories, and I want to show you how simple this is. Create your primary categories first. Pick 10. Doesn't have to be 12. That's just my deal. So pick 10 categories, headings. Under each heading, write 3 to 4 or 5 or 6, depending on how big you want each of the paragraphs to be, and write your subcategories. These are the paragraphs that would fit within this category, within this primary category. Again, an example, here's one chapter, marketing, and under the marketing chapter, I'm going to go into strategy, content, website branding, video, social, and so forth. So I'm going to go into each one of these areas. The way that this, I see her.
Hey there. Sorry for my tardiness. I had a little bit of a issue with equipment in our office. I wanted to add to what you just said, though. You were on an amazing, I heard everything you said, and you were on an amazing train of thought with regard to the book and how they're all integrated. And if you don't know, like you said, if you don't know what you want to write about, it's whatever your legacy is. It's what you're most passionate about. And normally, as you know, our clients will come and say, you know, well, I need web content, I need blogs, you know, and I feel like I'm doing this kind of buffet thing, and it's piecemeal, and I feel like I'm reacting instead of having an arsenal and a library. And that's all we're doing, is creating a content library and writing about your legacy, your passion, and your last 20 or 30 years of experience.
Tammy, I'm so happy you're here, because this point, we're to where I'm stopping, right? We're to where I am in this presentation. We're at the exact point that I am. What I've done for you is I have attempted, like I said, I have ADD of the book writer thing. I have like 90 books in my head that I'd like to write, and so I made a list of all of those, and I put them to the side, and I picked one, which I know will absolutely help me get a lot further faster. I went through and I created those categories, then I created the subcategories. Now, for me, it was very easy to be able to put the categories together, because all I did was go through all my blogs, all my webinars, all the radio shows, and so forth, and speaking topics, and I went and grabbed the highlights or the headings of each one of those. So I'm working backwards. Well, for someone that doesn't have that already prepared, how do they even start? How do they go through, or what do they do from this point?
Well, that's one of the beautiful things about our process. As you know, we can just take all of their years of PowerPoint presentations, everything that they've already done, their decades of experience, because as you know, when we're talking about content, that is your asset, just like the dollars in your bank account. So for an organization, your content is your asset. This is why companies and individuals and entrepreneurs pay so much money to trademark an idea. Your ideas are your assets, and the way that you sell those ideas and use them in your life and your business is through words. So it's not enough just to trademark the idea and then implement a process or sell a service or product. You actually have to build the right words around that idea and have such a distinctive message that it makes you the expert in the space, that there is absolutely no question that you're the expert. That's the distinction between what you and I do, Jen, I believe, and everyone else, is that you know, there's a lot of great people in the space, in social media, building websites and all of that. However, the thing that we really do differently is work with 1%ers and focus on whether you're a small business in one industry or a medium-sized or a large business, like some of the large companies we've worked with, Dial, Wrigley, World Ventures. You know, no matter who you are, small, medium, or large, it is about owning who you are. You didn't just spend the last 2 decades working on your business in order to let some newcomer come in and take it over, which is why the Google placement is so important, and the content, and building your online real estate, which is what you're excellent at. And then what we do is just sit down and take all of that intellectual property off of someone's hands. So for instance, when we just did a book for MedStar Corporation, the healthcare company in Fort Worth, you know, one of the first things I did was go in and personally sit around a conference table for 2 hours observing one of their meetings. So I just fit naturally into their existing process, observe their meetings, take notes, and then it's not any one individual's responsibility within the organization. I collect data from everyone and then put that into a book, into blogs, into the website, and give that, hand off that information in a way that you can use it to make them the expert. So, you know, in, let's see, 3 months, so 12 weeks, we had a book, and I sat down in two of their meetings. Oftentimes a CEO will come to me and say, you know, I've done everything. Or maybe one of our entrepreneurial smaller clients will say, you know, I've done everything. I've built this great business, but I really feel like I want a legacy. And one president of a company said, you know, if I died today, I'm afraid of what my ex-wife might say about me. And, you know, he joked about it. He joked about it. But he brings up a good point. You know, what's your legacy? You know, a book or your web content is one thing. That's ever-changing, right? But 100 years from now, it's the book that your grandkids are going to be reading. That's what's going to be in the attic. That's what they're going to find. So what are people going to say about you 100 years from now? You know, you can read about Thomas Edison, and what we know about him exists in the history books. We don't have a web page on him. Sometimes, you know, you can Google and find out information about him, of course, but when you read about people, it's a legacy that lasts on for years. And the thing is, like anything, you have the ability to control your content. So we want to take that message in your life and your business and merge it into one legacy that we can use across all mediums, like you said.
Tammy, I have a question. What if it's for a company and the company wants to position themselves? So, for example, Scott Burnside works for a company called Portable Air Conditioners Inc. is the website address, but it's Spot Cooling. What about for his company? What is his recommendation? How would a book help? This is they have portable air conditioners that can be used in server rooms for emergency cooling, outdoor parties, big events, these huge blowers if you're doing an outdoor wedding or a barbecue. How does it work for the business?
Well, one of the great things about using a book in the business, which, you know, 90% of our clients, as you know, are corporate clients or entrepreneurs like Scott. And the purpose of the book is to hand it out to prospects and send one to every client. So the process is we produce the book with your expertise and your content, 10 simple chapters, very easy process to get the content. And then we print the book, produce it, and use it as a tool to keep your existing customers. You know, a lot of times we have blind spots. We don't understand that we may not be communicating well with our customers. We don't understand when a customer is slighted because they don't want to tell us or create conflict. Or how many times have you known someone for so long and then you discover that they didn't even know half of what you do. A lot of times your customers don't really know all of what you've done in the last decade and what you plan to do. So establishing the vision, establishing the expertise as a leader in the industry is a way, with a book, to protect your existing customer base. So imagine if Scott took a book and sent it out to his top 10 or 20 customers. It's just a protection tool. It's more than a marketing tool. It establishes firmly who he is, how he thinks, how the business operates and functions, and what the vision is for the future. So, you know, a lot of times people come to us and say, gosh, I walked into my client's office and I saw a competitor's brochure or book on their desk. So we don't want that to happen. We don't want customers to leave. We don't want other people marketing to our customers. We want loyalty, but we have to nurture that. And a book is just a phenomenal tool to nurture that. Does that make sense?
Yes. Sorry, I'm totally talking on mute. Okay, so one of the clients we have, I'm looking at all our live attendees, and I want to dive into some specific situations with some more people. You're working with one of our mutual clients, Yvonne Damon, who has, let's see here, Yvonne started with us, I want to say it's been a half a decade. She's been a client with us, and her company has blown up. It's exploded. She has built the business from the ground up, went through many of the transition periods that a business goes through, and is at a point where she put her foot in the ground and is making an immediate about face to rebrand the business, rebuild her website, redesign her site to bring it up to today's environment. She's working with you to get all of her content done professionally and so forth. Talk to me a little bit about that process. I know you guys have had some great conversations, and this is a process. She's taking a major overhaul on her entire brand. What does that look like, and how does that benefit her business?
Well, the way that it has worked with her, which has been a wonderful process, because as you said, she's grown so much that she's at a point now where she can say, you know, I want to make sure that I secure these customers and that I handle future growth, and that we rebrand ourselves as the experts, because there's a couple of people out there trying to position themselves, you know, the same way. So the excellent thing about Yvonne is that she is so open to making that next step to ensure they're in the industry. And the process is, we have had a couple of conversations in which we bounce emails back and forth. I edit her ideas and repurpose them so that they're in her exact same voice, only we look at not just the words, but the ultimate mission. So my goal in talking with Yvonne or anyone is, we want to monetize your mission. We want to take your brand and monetize it even more. So if we can, number one, establish you as an expert, what would that look like? One thing that Yvonne was missing is, here she has this phenomenal company, but like most of us, we get caught up in the tactical day-to-day execution of the business. When I have clients, you have clients, Yvonne has clients, we have to react, respond, deliver, and serve. So one of the areas that Yvonne was missing was their human aspect. In her organization, they have such an important mission. They offer a product that saves lives, yet not many people outside of their existing customer base would be able to evidently see that. So if you Googled her and you looked through their information on their website, it wouldn't be apparent that they have this socially responsible mission. Now, if you look at companies like Tom's Shoes, right, you can buy shoes from anyone. But if you buy a pair of shoes from Tom's, you know right away that one pair of shoes for every pair that you buy is going to be given to an orphan, a child that has no shoes. So this is why Tom's is a multi-million-dollar company, because they have the socially responsible mission. Because you can buy shoes anywhere, you know. But it was a great concept. And so one of the things that we did with Yvonne, and that we will continue to do, is focus on that human side. And it's hard. All we do is a 45-minute forensic conversation. So on the phone with Yvonne, I did a forensic, in which we specifically drill down to, number one, what's your goal, as far as revenue growth, and also with your customers, what's your goal, what's your frustration, and what are you the best at. Once I have that, I can do a quick forensic on the website, on all the content out there, and see, okay, here's opportunities for growth that we're missing simply by modifying content. And it's amazing, it's like going to the doctor. Nobody wants to go to the doctor, but once you go for your checkup, some people put it off 3 years, right? And once you go to the checkup and you discover, okay, I got to get this done, or I got to get my blood work changed, or I have to eat this, or I have to exercise more. Once you get that plan in place, you don't have to go to the doctor. You go, you get your checkup, you get the foundation set. And it's the same way with your content. How many times do we go along in our business for 5, 6, 7 years and never stop to look at what we're missing, what our blind spots are? And that's where an expert can really come in and just help you execute that mission. And I'm talking 1 or 2 hours. It doesn't have to take a long time, right, Jennifer?
Yeah, absolutely. I was entirely surprised and a little disappointed in myself that I thought it was so complicated. That was prior to sitting down with you. So I love hearing people's feedback after they talk to you. Speaking of which,
it is complicated. If you think about, I have an old 65 Chevy, and I probably could figure out how to change the transmission or the oil or restore it if I wanted to. But, our time, successful people have to be working on the business. So when it comes time to, I don't have time to change my transmission or my oil, even though I probably could figure it out. So I have to outsource that. And it's the same thing with this very vital, there's nothing more important today to a business than what you do. Think about it. That is, the online presence is your asset. It's a huge asset. So just outsource that and don't even think about it. And we believe that it's simple and not complex. But of course, for our customers, they believe it's complex because that's not their core competency, and we want to help them focus on their business.
That is a perfect point. Every time I get in front of an audience and I'm speaking, I'm whipping through this stuff and I'm telling them exactly how to set up their marketing plan, beginning and end, what steps and what order. And at the end, I'm like, everybody got it? And they're like, right? Just totally overwhelmed. No different than if I think about having to write a book myself, totally overwhelmed. And that's
right. And that's why you shouldn't have to think about it. And, I don't make, when we're talking about writing a book and also building a website, a lot of people get locked up because
content.
They just don't want to think about it, right? Who does want to think about things that we don't really understand or don't view as a priority? So what I say is just make the call, say, let's get to it. How do we do it? And one of the things that I do is fit into whatever their process is. I have a client in London who only wants to send me audio files. So I will send him an email and say, okay, I need you to think about this topic because I've already done a forensic on his business. I need you to think about this topic right here. And he will talk into his phone and send me the audio file. And then I'll transcribe everything. And it's that simple, just like we're going to do with your 12 chapters. You're going to talk about it. You're going to send me a file. We're going to just make it happen and use that content in a book and everywhere.
Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, I have another. Actually, I want to make sure we have time to take questions. I have I have 3 other people that are on live with us that I know there's more than that, and I wish I could get to everybody, but let me throw this out there. First off, Yvonne Damon, since we just got done visiting about your business, if you are at a place and it's not real loud and you can unmute and talk a little bit. I know you told me a story and I said I was going to ask you to share that, but it was, and she did. I love you, lady. So, Yvonne, tell me, tell us a little bit about kind of this thought process. I know you were in competition with another client. You looked at kind of how they were, how your competitor was positioned as far as the graphics, the design, content, and everything else, and it really kind of shook you into I want to do something different. And talk to me about your time with Tammy.
Actually, Jennifer, thank you guys, both of you, for the kind words. Jennifer, this has been a crazy experience for me, and it's been the whole experience. It's Kathy, it's you, it's Tammy, and to speak specifically to that, it kind of wraps everything up. From the very beginning, Jennifer, you know, as the first 12 step I was at, you had talked about how the website was, what it was supposed to do, and you guys showed me examples, and I just happened to have been in a huge bidding war with a client in Indiana, and I already was hating my website, right, because you already convinced me it was terrible, right? So, yeah, it was awful. It was just awful. It was old. And so I started, because what you guys forced me to do here is look at my business from somebody else's eyes. And that's what's been going on for the last few months. That's why I'm chomping at the bit to get my old website off, get it off, because I hate it that anybody's looking at it, and I got to get this new one on there. But what I did when I was in that bidding war is I knew who my competitor was. I went to their website. Every single page I was going, dang it, freaking heck, that's what Jennifer was talking about. And if I just was praying they were not judging us on the website. Ended up I did not get that account. I don't know if Corson did or not, but dang it, it's just, that's what's happening here to me, is there's this new awakening. I'm now seeing myself as because while you were talking, I went in there and Googled my stuff, my 300 or whatever 100,000 people that I'm competing with. I'm on that front page, and now I'm angry I'm on that front page because my new website isn't up. Dang it.
Yeah.
So anyways, I want to thank you so much.
Absolutely. And that I love that you're doing this, because you're looking at all of the elements. You're looking at the reason you're on the first page is because you have a very well built engine that looks like stuff.
Yes. So
okay.
Get me off there.
I don't want to take you off the first page, because that's a whole another process to get you back. However, your first page placement is because you have this killer engine. Then the problem is the design. So if you're in a WordPress environment, WordPress is awesome because you have an engine, you have a framework, you have if you think about a website like an iceberg, everything that's under the water, which is the largest aspect of your website, is what's going to really, really allow you to even be able to start competing digitally. And then you have what's above the water, which above the water is what consumers see. So a lot of times when people are budgeting for their marketing plan, sometimes it's because they only have a limited budget, and so they have to do one out of the three. But really, when you think about it, you have to have 3 minimum. Hopefully, you have 5 different resources that are on your team to do this right. The first one is your developers. Your developers are coders. They don't have a lot of friends. You might find them listening to techno and drinking a Red Bull at the middle of the night. On Friday, they hang out on IRC, Internet Relay Channel. They don't go out. Okay, that's one person. Totally different person than a designer. A designer, this is a graphics person. They dress nice. They have friends. Totally different. They have a different mentality. They don't come in the same person. My designers can't code. My coders can't design. And somebody that does both is probably average at best at both. They're just different personalities. Then, if you have an incredible design and you have an incredible development and you don't have content, you're stuck. So the next person is you need a content writer. You have to have a content writer. people ask me from day one, they'll say, hey, Jen, how long does it take you guys to build a website? It takes me 30 days. And they're like, oh, great, my website will be done in 30 days. No, I highly doubt that. Because most business owners get completely stuck on content. And they don't want to outsource it because they're trying to save a dollar or whatever the situation is. So I will tell you, probably 60% of our entire website pipeline, and I have over 100 projects inside our pipeline, are stuck simply because of content, which is clients providing content. So that's the next one. Totally different person. Tammy is an entirely different personality than a coder or a designer, a graphics designer. They have different skills. The next person you need is a social media expert. Social media, they're friends with everybody. I have a few things I would say about them, but I'm just going to leave that alone. Hopefully your social media expert also is managed by a business expert, somebody that knows how to convert time to cash. Otherwise, you're going to wind up with a huge fan base, lots of Twitter followers, but not make any money.
Great point. I love that.
Sorry, I don't love social media marketers.
Yeah, and I love that point, Jen, because when we're writing content, it's not just about writing, it's about business, right? Mm-hmm. We all have very strong business backgrounds. I've got a very strong corporate business background, over 100 business books. So when we're writing content, it's about, with like Yvonne, for instance, she's amazing at her business. So writing the content so that it lasts for the next decade, so that it's timeless, and then also being able to write it in a way that shows the expert that she is. Because a lot of times, think about your clients are poking around on your website, or they're Googling you, and your prospects know more about you when they meet you, right? So you don't want any misinformation out there, and it's not just about being everywhere, like you said. I always say what you say is more important than where you say it. So, I know somebody that has 40 million followers on Facebook, 40. Mm-hmm. But how many of those followers are actually going to buy? And so that's why, it's important to write the content to get that percentage of followers that are actually going to buy. So I have personally 188,000 Twitter followers. Well, realistically, what does that really mean? How many people are actually going to buy your product? So that's what we do really well, Jen, I believe. You and me and everybody in your organization is so focused on the brass tacks, on the bottom line, so focused on not, how many followers you have, but how much revenue can we bring you by doing everything the right way. And that's the thing is, I believe Yvonne's revenue is only going to go crazy now in the next decade, just because she's so focused on really letting people know about how great a job they do and how important their product is.
Yep, absolutely. It is, as you go through each one of these experts, a developer, a designer, a content writer, the social media person, your SEO engineer, which they're slow thinkers and so forth, the bottom line is all of those people have very little value unless, and I don't mean I have teams of them, but our teams of subject matter experts are required to be guided by Tammy, Tony, myself, people that have business strategy, that understand the time, the length of time, the cost of acquisition for a new customer. I met a woman last night that was calculating how much she was going to make from doing a live webinar. And she was at the event that I was speaking at. She was handing out brochures. And I wanted to make sure when she calculated her profit on that webinar, because the way she was marketing was a 6-hour drive and attending an event and the after event and all the things that happen at a networking event. That was the process for building the clientele to attend the webinar. When you calculate the number of hours on the road in order to be able to fill a webinar, it's expensive, extremely expensive. So technically, in my mind, there is no profit in that. So leveraging this strategy takes time. It is the greatest part about doing it the right way with all of the right elements is in the future, and I'm, I'm not, I have to put it out there and be real, a year or 2 years or 3 years later, when you focus on doing the right things in the right order at the right time, what will happen is eventually your business will turn and burn on its own. Eventually, you will not wonder. I guarantee you, Tammy doesn't wonder where her next client is going to come from. She has so many digital assets, including human capital, all of her books, all of her blog content, her social metasphere, her speaking events. She has all of these permanent physical assets that bring business to her front door on a regular basis. She doesn't have to go fight for new customers. I'm thankful to be in a position that I have so many physical assets, and I can't wait to put a book into it. I have so many physical assets that those assets that I've built over the last 8 years, not 6 months, not 3 months, not I wrote a book and it's been on the market for 60 days, why am I not blowing up? It's over the past, let's see here. Tammy, how long have you been, when did you get out of corporate? How many years?
15 years ago. So 104 books with CEOs. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, and I left corporate, I want to say 9 years ago. Yeah, 9 years ago, because I've been in Texas 11 years. So 9 years. 9 years of, now, you know what, I wish if I would have taken the first 3 years of my business and I knew what I knew now and I had implemented it then, I would have been in a different position right now. I would have been on even a greater fast track. The first 3 years I spent analyzing entrepreneurs, what they did right, what they did wrong, duplicate processes, inefficiencies, technology, what are all these things called networking groups out at all day long? Because in a corporate environment, you go to conferences, not networking groups. So also then it was, part of my transition was moving as a speaker. And as a speaker, if you go back 5 years ago, I thought it was important to get booked. I don't care about getting booked right now. That's not important. I don't want to just be busy. I don't need to just be busy. My goal is to put systems and processes, tools in place that allow me to be free. So if people ask all the time, why do you do what you do, or how can you do what you do? How can you travel? How can you, let me move this. Get meeting announcements. So how can you do what you do? It is simple. The #1 goal to myself was the ability to choose, the freedom to choose without restriction. Everything that in the last five years, my goals have changed, and I am focused on putting the right things in place that provide freedom, that things that work for me while I'm not there. Tammy, your thoughts on that before we close up here? You're on mute, babe. There you go. Okay, you're off.
The thing that I just want to reiterate about, nowadays, social media, that big term, right? You and I feel the same way, of course, that it's social equity that matters. In the next 10 years, you can write it down, I predict, in the next 10 years, we're going to see an entirely new shift because everyone's on Facebook, everyone's on Twitter, everyone's on Instagram, everyone's in, quote, social media. So when you get your book, for instance, and you're handing it out to your clients, it's the social equity gift that you're giving them.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You guys, we're definitely out of time. I have, first I want to thank everyone. Tammy, thank you so much for spending time with everyone, sharing your knowledge and your expertise, idea, encouragement, motivation. I'm hoping that everybody leaves with some key points that they can go do right now. So if I was going to outline those key points, #1 would be get on the phone, sign up for a consultation, and get on the phone with Tammy or get on the phone with myself and Tammy and visit with us about where you are, where you want to go, and how to get there. So that's number one. The second thing I would recommend is going to be start thinking about that outline. And if you need to do the consultation first, do it. If you sat on this and you're like, I got it, then start creating that outline. What is the category? What are the subcategories? And then jump on the phone with Tammy and visit about how you can quickly, and I'm saying in 9 weeks, 12 weeks, quickly be able to convert that into a book. And then once that book is done, you're going to be able to spin it, and you're going to have an entire year's worth of blog posts, newsletters, webinars, radio show categories. You're going to have an entire year's worth of content completed and ready to go. And I'm going to say the final thing is you guys jump into our networks and participate. Jump into our networks and communicate with Tammy and I. Share, like, participate, ask questions. On our social networks, we participate heavily. So if you're on Twitter and that's your place, then definitely jump onto Twitter and visit with Tammy. My primary social account that I don't have outsourced to my team is Facebook. That's actually me talking versus you talking to someone on my team. So with that, Tammy, you have any takeaways that they need to wrap up with?
Just that allow our team to do a forensic on all of your content. It won't take but a 45-minute checkup, and I believe that it'll be the one thing you can do this year that'll really change your business for the positive in the next 5 years.
Excellent. You guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Everyone that's in attendance, I wanted to call out. I wanted to visit about Sherry Stark, our realtor in Austin. We'll definitely do that next time. Nikki Boyle, you absolutely have a story to tell. So next week, you guys jump back on the call, and we're going to specifically allow each one of you guys to bring up things that are important to you, questions, and really be able to. This is the final week of this session is next week, so we want to have you guys jump on and be able to visit with Tammy and ask questions. With that, you guys, thank you so much for attending. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.